You've had an opportunity now to see 2 weeks. And I said to you yesterday, well, that's 1/8 of the season. That sounds a little bit better.
Sounds bigger, yeah.
You've seen Kansas City against the Broncos.
Yep.
We saw San Diego play a couple of games, I think. They were the early game here, if you watched the early game against Cincinnati,
Yeah.
and looked pretty bad, I thought. Oakland came back and beat Baltimore. We thought Baltimore was a pretty good team based on what happened in the opening game. How would you evaluate the Broncos' competition for the AFC in the AFC West?
Who you want to start with? Which
San
of the three?
Diego.
Raiders?
No.
Well, he wants to start with the Raiders.
San Diego.
San Diego. You want to start with Okay, we'll go San Diego, since we got a shot of Phillip behind us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not a great offensive line. Not a great pass rush. I think San Diego has a lot of holes. As long as they have Phillip Rivers at quarterback, and they've surrounded him with some better offensive weapons, I think they can be dangerous, but I don't think they're dangerous enough to compete for the AFC West title, nor do I think they're going to be any better than an 8-8 or 9-7 team. I think they're the same thing they've been for the last couple of years.
Yeah, 500 team.
Yeah, maybe a game over. Maybe 9-7, 2 games
I
over.
thought coming into the season that last game could be the difference maker. San Diego and Denver play here January 3rd.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be over before then. I think Gordon is not going to be anything spectacular. We talked about it earlier in the week. That would have been yesterday, I guess, that nobody's picked up Monty Ball.
Monte Ball.
I've already forgotten his name. That's how much of an impression he made on us. Those Wisconsin running backs are overrated a little bit, I think, given their history. Defensively, I don't think they're any good. You were talking about the pass rush.
They're mediocre.
They got an Eric Waddle, and he was holding out, was not going to play unless they gave him a lot of money. They gave him a lot of money. He's an all-pro safety. But really, is that defense any good? I don't think so.
No.
I think that's going to that. Phillip Rivers is going to get frustrated like he has. He's going to start throwing the ball 50 times a game. He threw a great sidearm pass. That's what he throws, is sidearm passes. But he threw one great sideline pass. I watched the Cincinnati-San Diego game because I wanted to see San Diego. I didn't see much out of San Diego. In Cincinnati, even though they're a good regular season team, nope, 8-8, 9-7, that's not going to win the division. If the Broncos get to 10, they won't have to worry about San Diego. How's that for you? Because I'm going to come back on that later.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right. Kansas City or Oakland next?
KC.
Kansas City. Okay. You go first.
Kansas City, by the end of the year, is going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league. Houston is just sensational. He's DeMarcus Ware
Justin Houston.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
He is every bit as good as Von Miller, and people in Denver don't want to hear that. He's a world-class player. They've got a good defense. Eric Berry's going to get better. Guy was,
Cancer.
yeah. I think that they're going to be. Jamal Charles is not going to fumble 2 times a game. I think Kansas City's going to be in the playoffs in the AFC.
As a wild card or as a division winner?
As a wild card.
Okay.
I think for the Broncos, think back to what I said about the San Diego Chargers. I said if the Broncos can get to 10 games, they won't have to worry about San Diego.
Okay.
They got to get to 11 games to not worry about the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs, they had their hearts torn out of them by the Broncos. They've got, I keep telling you, they've got that terrible, terrible schedule. They had the home game. They've got all these row of games coming up, 7 out of 9 to begin the season, that are away from Kansas City. They're going to dig themselves a hole that they can't get out of. They're a good team. They are not a great team.
Guess where I'm going on this one? The quarterback. At the end of the Broncos game last Thursday night, everybody asked Andy Reid why he didn't just take a knee. He said, well, with 33 or 35 seconds to go, I wanted to give the ball to Jamal Charles because I was hoping he would break one. Maybe we could get past midfield. Maybe we could get into field goal range and kick a last-second field goal in the game.
That was a safe choice.
Yeah. Well, if you're hoping to break a big play, Why wouldn't you let your quarterback throw the ball? You know why? Because he doesn't trust his quarterback and because his quarterback can't throw the ball downfield. Kansas City, when they get behind, cannot win because they can't go deep. They can't catch up.
So with 35 seconds to go, approximately.
I would have taken a knee, by the way, and gone to overtime.
Oh, thank you, John Fox.
I don't know. If I have Peyton Manning, I'm not taking a knee. If I have Alex Smith, I'm taking a knee. Alex Smith can't get it done. I've been saying this for years and years and years. You know that. Same thing. They're the same team. They're good enough to get beat in important games.
Let's go to Oakland.
Okay.
Well,
do we have to?
Next month. Well, but you say that. You say that. It's like your Detroit thing. You know where I'm going into Detroit? I'm going into Detroit. I'm staying in the airport.
Really?
There's a Marriott in the airport. Did you know that? So I'm going to fly in Saturday night. I get there about 10 o'clock. I'm going to stay in the airport. I'm going to take a cab down to the game. I'm going back to the airport. I catch a flight at 6:40
They
the
have
next
some
morning.
beautiful suburbs in Detroit.
Well, but you're talking like I'm going there on vacation. So you go, Oakland. I don't want to go to Oakland. Guess what?
We stay in San
Everybody goes
Francisco.
to San Francisco.
Of course.
I'm going to go up to Napa, I think. And then you drive over the stadium, you cover the game, and then you go back to San Francisco. So don't give me this, I want to go to Oakland. Who goes to Oakland? Nobody
It's
goes to
low-hanging
Oakland.
fruit, you know? That's so I go for it. It's like Tebow. If I can make fun, I do.
I thought Jack Del Rio was going to make this a better team. I think he has made it a better team. I think Derek Carr to Amari Cooper, I told you yesterday, is going to be a really good passing combination.
You like Carr better than I do.
Yeah.
That's
I think
okay.
Carr was a scaredy cat last year. Did you ever use that word when you were a kid?
Yes.
You're a scaredy cat. He was a scaredy cat. His offensive line was all messed up. He had no receivers. He was afraid of the pass rush. He was a rookie. He just didn't have anything going. This year, he's got a couple of receivers. He's got Crabtree. He's got Cooper. He's got a little bit better, even though they lost Wisniewski. They got a better offensive line. They've got a better defense. You know that it's going to be better. I saw out of Jack Del Rio a similar defense to what he ran here was let them catch the ball in front of you kind of defense.
Yeah.
You know, don't apply pressure. This is a team that's going to win 6 games, 7 games. That's an to say that about Oakland is really
That's a great
an
season
optimistic
for them.
season. 6 games. Let's say 6 games.
They haven't been better than 500 since 2002. Is that amazing?
Was that the year of the Super Bowl?
That was the year of the Super Bowl with Rich Gannon.
Against Tampa?
Look, I'm with you on the Del Rio thing to a point.
Really?
I think they're
that is a great stat.
Yeah.
You should repeat that again.
I think
they have not been above.
I don't
500.
believe they've been above 8-8.
Even when they had that
since
guy who's the
2002.
offensive line coach, Tom Cable.
Yeah, I don't think
Didn't
so.
they have that great run there at the end of the season where they won like 5 or 6 games?
You sure you're not thinking of George Blanda?
No, I was thinking of Tom Cable is what I was.
I'm with you on Del Rio to a point. I think they're a more resilient team, and I think they showed that last week against Baltimore with a nice come-from-behind win with a few seconds
like
to go.
Carr in that game?
But I'm not wild about Del Rio all day. I really soured on Del Rio as a coach. I think he can only take you so far. I saw that in the last couple of years here as defensive coordinator. They do have better talent, but they don't have enough talent. And I think 6 or 7 wins for them is a really good season. I wouldn't be shocked at all if they ended up with only 4 or 5 wins. It's a fairly tough division there.
So you're thinking
San Diego, Kansas City, and the Broncos.
You're thinking 9 for Kansas City, about.
Yeah.
And
Maybe 10 for Kansas
You're thinking
City.
what for Oakland? How many? 5?
For Oakland,
Yeah,
5 tops.
6. Okay.
Yeah, maybe
and
6.
Kansas City, you didn't give a number.
9 or 10.
Okay. So the Broncos need to get to 11.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, unless they, tie Kansas City and have the tiebreakers.
So it would be good that if they're going into the Chargers game, they need to be 2 games up. Would that be?
Sure. And then you would want them to rest Peyton Manning.
Absolutely.
Of course. We're going to get
Absolutely.
into that argument again like last year.
Of course we are.
That segment's sponsored by the Blake Street Tavern. If you've never been to the Blake Street Tavern and you like going to sports
Well, then
bars,
there's something wrong
it is
with you.
the quintessential sports bar. Go there.